Tonight we have Nadia, Janaea, and Beatrice. But we're going to... Thank you, Ashley. Ashley showing some love for you guys. We're going to start tonight off just a little bit differently. Instead of going straight into some pictures, the ladies have actually prepared a video of their experience. And so if you would like to go ahead and turn your attention to the screen, and if we can go ahead and play the video.
Did you find the caffeine?
There are no words, no phrase I could create. There is no melody that I could make. How do you sing about a love so deep without feeling like you miss something? I could try, but I could not explain.
Oh my, that is so good.
And that's just a little video of some of the action. As you can notice, there was a whole lot of interesting things in there. Any comments on the videos before we get into the picture?
Oh.
Any comments?
I don't think our mics.
I don't think so either.
Hello. Paul's a really, really great dancer.
So is Kylan and Andrew and Caden.
Yeah.
Definitions of greatness vary by people, but
And you too.
Oh, yeah.
no.
His singing was exceptional, too.
Again, that didn't happen. No video or didn't happen. So, well, we're going to start off with what's going on here. What do we have? You guys want to share a little bit about this?
Oh. Okay. Well, I love to take .5 pictures, so we took a lot in the airport, and then the second picture is the school, and then the third picture is like the van that we rode in.
Yep, that wonderful VIP 1, right?
Oh.
All right, so this is it looks like this is you. Well, I guess I see all of you guys in there, but see more of Janaea's face in this one. So Janaea, what's going on here?
Okay, so the first picture was on the first day that we went to the school on Saturday, and these kids like love to take pictures. So if somebody like brings out a phone, like they want to take pictures. So we just took a picture with them, and the girl with me on the right, that's Pauline, and then I don't think I can name all the other girls. Oops. Oh yeah, and that's Pauline, and then the girl on the right is Loveness. And so this was graduation day. And it was like a really, really long graduation, so we all kind of were just like in the back at some point.
Yeah, so during the graduation, the staff, so myself, Mrs. Alder, Dr. Smith, along with Moonbeck, the principal, and Doody, the chairman, and then we had several other dignitaries that were there. We had 3 government officials that were there that were high up in the educational department. We had some some leaders from some of the different churches there. There was a representative from the Roman Catholic Church, from the Lutheran Church, and 2 representatives from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And so we got to sit up there the entire time and didn't get around and move around at all. And after about the first 2.5 or 3 hours, I saw less and less of the kids up front, more and more of them in the back behind the thing when everything was going on. So, yeah, the graduation went quite long. And since we got started late in the graduation, Moonbeck told me, it's like, well, we're kind of going late, so we're going to cut some things out. And as I looked through the schedule, and I was talking to Odie, and he added more and more things to the schedule and didn't cut anything out and didn't shorten anything at all. We were supposed to have lunch at 12:30 is the time we normally have lunch. They moved it back to 2:30 for that event in the schedule, and then we ate lunch about 5:30. And so that just gives you kind of an idea of the fluidity of the time there. So, all right, Janaea, there's you with kids. What's going on with the kids?
Okay, so Paul mentioned it a little bit earlier, a couple nights ago, but when we would drive the van back to the hostel, there would always be like a bunch of like elementary school kids just walking on the roads. And so I think like the first couple of days, we would just like roll down the windows and be like, Mambo, which like means hello. But then I think I bought a bag of candy, and I think I just started handing it out like through the window. And then by the end of the trip, we had like 20 kids running after the van because they knew it was like the candy van or whatever. Which sounds really bad, actually.
Yes, we would always have kids chasing the van trying to get the candy. So, yes, candy from the van. So you want me to explain the next picture? Okay, so this is Moonbeck. This is the headmaster, and that is his baby that he told us. He didn't even tell us his wife was pregnant until the day that she was born. We get a message saying that Moonbeck had a daughter born at 5 o'clock that morning. And so we ended up going and seeing the baby later in that day. And here's the fun thing. This, Janaea wanted to hold a baby while she was there, but what she didn't know is that she would get to hold a baby that baby's name is Janaea. The headmaster named his daughter after Janaea. At first, we thought it was a joke because he's kind of a joking, kind of laughing guy. And so I pulled him aside later on, and I'm saying, so what did you really name your child? And he's like, no, we really named her Janaea. My wife's name starts with a J, and so we named all of our kids with the same letter. And my wife said, what do we want to name him? It's like, oh, do you like the name Janaea? And his wife's like, yes. And so Janaea is holding Janaea. What I really like about this is this shows you the impact that our group was able to make on that. Now, I did tell Moonbeck that Tom is a great middle name for a baby girl, but he didn't agree with me on that one. So I was a little disappointed, but Janaea was quite happy. And if you got to see in the video, I got a chance to hold Janaea, and it was really precious. So. The little baby Janaea, not this Janaea. I want to make sure that's very clear. So, Pasha, calm down, buddy. All right, let's see. Is that Nadia I see?
Yeah, okay. So, like Janaea mentioned, the girls, or all the kids there really love taking pictures and stuff. And we were on the first 2 pictures. It was at graduation, and I was just sitting in the back, and all these girls come out of nowhere, and they're like, oh, Nadia, let's take some pictures. So we took a bunch of pictures and stuff, and then the girl on my right side, that's Loveness, and she's one of the girls that graduated.
And fun story about Loveness is the first student at Lagurkey High School. And so, she's the first student, and this was their first graduating class. And so it was really an honor for me to be asked to be a speaker for that one. But the really neat thing about her is she came to the school, was the first student, and she stayed on campus by herself, was the only student for the first month. So for 1 month on the campus, all the teachers, everybody was in place. So a little bit of backstory on this school. This school was run by a different organization, and the heads of the organization embezzled the money and was using the money. They didn't take care of the building. They weren't taking care of, they ended up having, not paying the salaries for the teachers, and they just really ran it down into the ground. And so the Lagurkey High School had a really bad name in the community as not doing anything for the community, and they ran off with the money. And so when the government had approached Cherish Foundation, well, actually it wasn't the government, it was the Parents Association, because the school was actually owned by an association of the parents in the area. And so they asked them to take over the school, and so they raised the funds. They ended up getting the teachers all hired, and they had 1 student. And so I don't know if Ms. Shella or Mr. T, how you guys would feel to have the entire staff here and have only 1 student here with all that for an entire month. And so can you imagine yourself being that 1 student at school by yourself? And her father was very, very pleased. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit, was very pleased with the school and how well she had done there at the school. So it was just really, really just a neat story. So anything else you guys want to say about Loveness? No? Okay. Okay, we have another 0.5 here, it looks like. I learned what that was on the trip, by the way. And so for you older folks that may not understand what 0.5 is, let me just explain that. It's a feature in iPhone where it'll take your camera and zoom it out and give it kind of almost a fisheye type of look that's more than just, 1 is the normal zoom on the camera, 0.5 is it's backing it out, and so it gives this strange effect that makes your arm look like it's 14 miles long. And for some reason, the kids really, really like that, and they taught me how to be able to take that kind of picture. So I don't know if I'll ever take them again, but it was fun on that trip. So, Nadia?
Okay, so the picture on the left, this was also during graduation. There was these little kids that were just like playing in the back and stuff, and they saw that we had the ukulele and the guitar, so they started playing around with it. And then that little boy there, when it was time to go, he was kind of sad when we were trying to get Andrew's ukulele back. And then the second picture is on our first Sabbath there. We were in the van on the way to go to the school to have church with them, and that's just all of us in there, me and Beatrice in the front.
You have anything to add to that, Beatrice?
Oh.
Because
No.
Beatrice really liked the bus rides, right?
Oh, no, I did not. Wait, I did? I don't know if I did. I don't.
Beatrice sang a whole lot on the bus, we'll just put it that
yeah.
way.
Taylor Swift.
Can of worms open, and moving on to next picture. All right, Beatrice, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm mixing paint with Janaea. I think. Right? Yeah. I'm mixing very watered down paint. It's harder than it looks for me.
Paint, lemonade, I mean.
It was yellow paint
With lots of water.
with water, not pea or lemonade.
Water with a little bit of paint, so.
Yeah.
And what's going on in the other picture over there?
Oh, Mrs. Alder is putting in the windows and putting the the cement around the windows. I don't know what it was called. It was a putty, weird, squishy thingy that wouldn't stick on the windows. And I got to experience the frustration that Kylan went through with every single window he put. But I was there for moral support, but I never did none of the windows. I just supported Kylan through the frustration. But yes, I think that's what it was. Yeah. Oh. To be honest, I don't know any of their names. Or they do. Paul probably does. Paul knew everybody and all the staff. But yeah, they wanted to take pictures, so I was being nice, so I took a picture with them. Because I don't really like pictures, but hey, it's for memories. So I took pictures with them and they loved it, so it was great. On Saturday, graduation, I think.
Well, this was Friday for
Oh,
graduation.
Friday.
The days all started blending together. So if you'll notice there's something, and maybe some students have had questions. I don't know if anybody's had these questions. Can you tell us a little bit about their haircuts?
Oh, I found out from, I don't know, Andrew, Kylan. I don't know why they knew about this, or they didn't. But the girls, their hair, they either could have it braided or they would have to shave it off, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was told by a couple of different people different things. I was told that every student, regardless if they're in this school or in any kind of school, to distinguish students from adults, you would have to shave your head, guys and girls. And so Beatrice loved it so much, she's like, well, why don't we go back to Milo and petition ad council to make everybody, all the students shave their heads, right? That was your idea, Beatrice?
No, no, I would never cut my hair. No, no.
But it's a Tanzanian school requirement that students all cut their hairs. One person did tell us that the girls could either have braids or they could shave their heads, but we never saw anybody with braids unless they were older teachers. Some of the teachers did, but yeah, you weren't allowed to start growing your hair until after you graduated from school. So you had to maintain the same haircut whether you were a guy or a girl.
Ooh. So this was graduation, and there were two tents. One tent was for the staff, and the other tent was where us kids and the students sat. And so the bottom picture is that's the Form 6, not all of them, but most to all of them. And then there's Nadia and, oh, the top left, right? Left? Your left, yes. Yeah, your left. We went on a hike one Saturday, and we went to help the people that were more or less fortunate. And I don't remember what the story was with this certain person that we went to, but what did we bring them? A bag of rice?
So we brought soap, rice, and a little bit of cash. We went and visited two different people. One of them was injured in a mining accident and wasn't able to work. And the other one was just an older gentleman. He was a professor actually at the university. Yeah, their family was less fortunate and they didn't have anything. So the school goes out and does an act of kindness one Sabbath a month. And so they'll usually go, and this is where the 1 kilometer joke went in, because Moonbeck told us that, it's like, yeah, we're going to go and we're going to give some stuff to some different people, and it's going to be about 1 kilometer. And this was the one that ended up being about 5.5, 6 kilometers. So he was a little bit off on his map. But yeah, that was the, I believe that was the first house with the older gentleman who was a professor.
Yes. Yeah, and then there's just Andrew.
And just Andrew.
Yes, Andrew's face. Oh, and Matthew and Tyler, but mainly just Andrew's face.
Mainly just Andrew's.
Yes. So the 3 right pictures I was not there for because I got sick. But the other 2, that is kind of what the buildings of where they went to school look like, and what their non-pavement floor looked like. The ground looked like.
Non-pavement floor, yes, it's called the ground.
The ground. But Janaea or Nadia can say what is happening because I wasn't there.
Oh yeah, so we went to the elementary school because apparently it was like preset that we were gonna go there, but then we got there and they're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were coming," because the guy who had set it up like dipped, I guess, and so he wasn't there. But we went there and we went to one of the classes and just talked. There's my dad, and he's watching this too. And then we all gave speeches because Mombek is just like that, and he had us all talk, and then we left.
Yeah, so Moonback would just randomly say, okay, all right, now give a speech to these elementary school kids. And then different people had to get up and give speeches, and this is one of the ones where Dr. Smith had to get up there and just talked with the kids a little bit. These would be probably the equivalent of our 7th grade. This last year of middle school before they would go into it. So this was kind of trying to rebuild relationships because, again, like we said before, the Lagurkey High School did not have a great reputation in the community, and this was only probably the distance from here to the horse barn away from the school. So it wasn't a very far walk. And that's where we went and played football. In the video you saw the football playing, and the one that Andrew and Caden and Paul talked about in their talks. That's where it was on their property right across in their field where we got a chance to go play football. So yeah, we went there and we visited. The headmaster and the vice headmaster of the school had set up us to go, and then they end up having to go to some conference meetings and didn't tell any of the teachers there that we were showing up. So it was, again, they made us feel very welcome with that when we sat in the classroom and stuff like that. And then you can see in the bottom picture there that they didn't talk about, but that's some of their pictures that they put on the wall that they show explanations of various different things.
Oh, so the graduation, you can see the phony thingy that this dude created, and I did not take this picture, but, and then the top is the Form 6. They entered the graduation, like, instead of marching in, they would dance in, and so they were dancing into where everybody else was at, like their version of the stage, but just grass. And that is more pictures of the rest of us kind of bored. And that's what Pastor Tom had to wear on a really hot day in the hot sun.
Yes, it was. That was safari. It was quite warm, but yeah, I was honored to give the graduation speech for that first graduating class. So it was quite nice. Yeah, and that bottom one right there with the blue background, and you see all that wood stuff. All of that is a cell phone. And so, but I'll talk a little bit more about that on Sabbath morning. So.
Yes, and these were the really cute kids that Janaea gave a lot of candies to. And when I say our van was swarmed with kids, we went 5 miles an hour, and every time Janaea would see a kid on the side of the road, she would scream and tell the driver to stop, and then we would all stop. It took us, instead of like 35 minutes to get back to the hostel, I feel like it took us a whole 2 days, because it was like every single kid we stopped for and gave candies, but it was pretty cool.
Anything else you'd like to add, ladies? No? If you can't tell, they're just slightly nervous to be up here, so.
Oh, I put those pictures in. So, that's Pastor Tom. Excited about the safari, and also Matthew, and the Janaea. And then Amber and I took a picture next to a elephant skull with bones. I don't know what the other bones were, but it looked cool. And Dowdy made us do it, so we had no choice. And then we drove up to the top of a summit mountain place. I don't know where it was, but then we got a picture, and we were literally, our heads were above the clouds. So that was really cool. And this was the first day of the safari. We saw Pumbaa. I don't know what.
Pumbaa, that's
I don't know what his animal species name is.
it's a warthog, but yeah, it's a Pumbaa. It's,
Warthog. So
yes,
Yeah.
actually. Well, wait till Sabbath for that one.
our vehicle with Caden, Paul, Tyler, me, Amber, Pastor Tom, Diode, and our driver, Aji. We sang a Kuna Matata. I don't know if Pastor Tom sang, but we did sing it. And we also sing The Lion Sleeps Tonight. The monkey eating was Janae's pet,
Which one? Oh, the baby?
the baby.
Oh, yeah, the baby. Well, no, I feel like it was my dad's because he was the one feeding it.
You were
Yeah,
the
but-
one that was protecting it.
It was a team effort. I don't know. It was really cute.
Okay, so I'll save that story for later. Interesting fun fact about the warthog. I think a lot of you guys would enjoy the warthog. I learned this the first time I went on safari, but the warthog and I are very similar. The warthog has a very short memory, and they said they were the Haji was telling me a story the first time that their memory is so short that they can be running away from a predator, and after about 8 seconds, they'll forget why they were running, and they'll stop and eat. And then they'll remember why they were running, and oh, I got to start running again. And 8 seconds later, they will forget why they were running. They would stop and they would eat. And so, very short memory and likes to eat a whole lot. And so that is now one of my favorite animals because forgetful and likes to eat. That's me. So.
These were, some of them were, no, all of them were the first day. We saw giraffes, and then we saw a
Leopard and cheetah.
leopard and cheetah. And I was blessed to have a camera that could zoom in as far as it did to make the picture so clear, because we were not very close to any of these creatures, but we got great shots of it. Pastor Tom actually got the bottom one of the elephant.
Yeah, I was very proud of that picture. I like that one. Fun. The cool thing about it is the big five. They say it's very rare to see all 5 animals, but the cheetahs is even more rare to see the cheetahs. And he sits there and says that at this park specifically, maybe 2 or 3 times a year he'll have a group that sees cheetahs. And so it was incredibly rare to be able to see the cheetahs. So that was really a blessing. And so several pictures of just some of the animals here. What were your guys' favorite animals you saw on the safari?
The elephant, I think.
The elephant. Yeah, the elephant. Oh, and the baby monkey.
The baby monkeys,
It was the cheetah
the
for
cheetah.
me.
Yeah, some very cool. And of course, with all of these exotic animals, we have ducks. So-
Hey, they were cute. They were cute. So.
And what was that cute one on the bottom left there?
Oh, hi.
The hyena, not very cute. Those things are actually creepy looking up close.
Yeah, and they run very, very strange. So, but we got to see a lot of different animals on the safari. But I think the next picture after this one is probably my favorite. Of course, this is the big five that we saw, which is kind of cool that they got it on here. So we saw the elephant, the buffalo, the leopard, the lion, and the rhinoceros, which was really kind of neat. But my favorite animals on the entire safari.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Why don't you guys explain a little bit about what's going on in some of these pictures?
I do not know why I put these in here, actually. But, yeah. Oh, Kylan and Caden, that was their staring competition thingy. And this is how Kylan's face looked. Pretty scary. I have no idea why Caden has a flower in his hair. I don't know why Kylan's face is so close and Paul's face. And Amber just enjoying the breeze. But yeah, these were some of the wildlife we saw on the road.
Kylan and Caden stood there for quite literally 45 minutes trying in this staring contest. It was so bad, because this is when we stopped and we had to get the tire changed, and we were waiting on the vehicle to go get air. And that's because we put the new tire on it. The new tire didn't have enough air, so we had to take it about 3 kilometers away to go get air, and it took a while. And so they sit there and stared at each other to the point where the Maasai that were standing there around there said, "What are these boys doing?" And they got bored and walked away because they weren't buying anything or doing anything fun. So, intimidation, no, it was just boredom. Who won? They both gave up when it was time to go. It was mutual win. It was a mutual win. Mutual win. And then you can talk to them and find out the differences with that one. So, you guys have got some notes there because you guys were prepared. I love the preparedness for it. But I'll ask you guys the same questions we've been asking each night. First question is, where did you see God? How did you see God on this mission trip?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. I saw it through the students at the high school there. They were very kind and like welcoming, and like the second we got there, they're just like wanting to know like everything about us and whatnot. Like some girls came up to me and they like asked me what my name was, and then they're like, "Can I have your number?" And they just like wanted to stay in contact and stuff. So it was very nice, and like you could feel God's presence there.
I feel like I saw God the most through like all the answered prayers and like the blessings that He gave to us, because like throughout like the whole trip, like the safari, working out, like being able to see the elephant up close, like Caden's earbuds. I don't know, there were just like a lot of things that happened, and like even going to Tanzania in the first place, because I know we were like gonna go to the Philippines, but I think like God closed that door because this year, like this group of kids, like we were meant to go to Tanzania and serve the people there. So I just think that I really felt God's presence through just the way that He guided us.
Pastor Tom always told us every morning that we would have worship, that we are making an impact on each and every one of the students that we were there for. And the work that we were doing, no matter how big or small, still had an impact. I myself did not believe it because, I didn't think that I was like that significant to make such a like impact or difference on any of the students there. And so, I don't know, I guess God helped me see that through me kind of getting sick for 2 days, which wasn't great. But I wasn't there for 2 days, and before, like, I didn't talk to, like, any of them. I hung around Kylan and Andrew, more of the guys, because these two were busy talking to them. Paul was on his own roller coaster of stuff, like, and he was busy and stuff, and so I just hung around Kylan, Andrew, and Matthew, and so then when I got sick, like the night of, everybody came to me and was like, "Oh, all the students missed you and all the students asked for you," and stuff like that. And then I came back and they were just like, "Oh my goodness, we missed you," and blah, blah, blah. And it was just amazing to see that even though I am not an extrovert, and that shockingly I don't talk that much, and that I can be shy, funny, that I had actually made an impact on some of the students there. And, you know, it was just amazing to see how God used me and used each of our talents to praise His name and to bless all the students there. Yeah, I forgot my thought. That's great. Oh.
Very good. What did you guys learn on this trip, either about yourself or just learn in general that you'd like to share?
Okay, I guess I'm going first again. Something I learned is that God, He always has a plan for us. Because if you'd asked me in the summer if I would go on a mission trip, I probably would have said no. But I just like had like, I was talking to Haley, and she was like, "Let's sign up for the mission trip, and then if things don't work out, like we don't have to go." I was the only one that ended up going between the two of us. But once I signed up, I was like not sure if I was going to be able to raise all the money because it was a lot of money, and but all the people like at Canyonville Church like really supported me, and friends and family, they made it possible for me to go. So God just He'll open up doors and He'll lead you where He needs you.
What did you learn on this trip? Either about yourself or just in general, something you want to share that you learned?
I think that I really learned the importance of gratitude and the importance of how good things are over here and stuff. Like, I don't love school and I don't love my always being in classes all the time, but like, some of the students would ask us physics questions, US history questions, math questions. We failed at most of those, but through it all, we were like on the same chapters that they would ask us questions about, and eventually we started answering things, mostly Kylan, because he was knowledgeable. And so it was.
What did you learn?
Yeah, gratitude. And just like at the graduation, there's mic situation was not great. It would squeak. Our ears would feel like they were bleeding, especially Paul's. He was really hurt his ears. And the music was too loud. And Kylan marched up to the stereo and he fixed it. And then they broke it again. And so, like, it's just like a thank you to, like, the teachers here that teach us, for each and every one of you here that, you know, makes our school the way it is. And, like, thank you to, like, Jonathan, Zach, Cody, and all the media team that make it possible to where we don't have to come somewhere and have our ears be bleeding every time we leave the church or anywhere that there's a mic or media equipment. So, yeah.
So I think,
What did you learn?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I feel like over the trip, I learned the importance of like finding the good in like the tough situations, because like when we were in Tanzania, like obviously like not everything went like as planned, but you know God was like still blessing us, and like it was like really easy to look for the blessings, I guess, because we were all like hyped up or whatever. And like on the plane ride back, I had some good reflecting time because it's a really long flight. And I guess it was like a realization for me that like when I go through like, I mean like at the beginning of this year, it was like pretty hard because like I lost a lot of like the important people to me, and that like that kind of like overshadowed like all the blessings that God gave us this year. And so I think I've learned to find the good despite the tough things that go on.
Very good, very good. And last question, as we've talked about each night, mission trip is not something that we're going to do just one time. It's something that we're going to continue to do. We're planning on going to the Philippines next year. There's a lot of moving pieces that are involved with that one. What advice would you give somebody who is considering possibly going on next year's mission trip?
I'll go first. Okay. So yeah, if you're considering going on mission trip next year, definitely pray about it and see if like that's what God's calling you to do. And obviously like listen to his voice, and if you like think that it's right, then start fundraising and just like prepare your heart like to go and just full send and just go.
Okay, I guess my advice is kind of similar. Just trust in God and pray about it a whole bunch. Like I said earlier, like if he wants you somewhere, he will open up all those doors so you can go.
I think that the one important thing that I liked was that God will use you wherever you are. So there's no perfection or a perfect way you have to be for God to be like, hey, I want you to go on this, so you're going to go on this, because your personality, your uniqueness, your self is the way that you can make a huge impact on others around you, and especially in like countries like that where they might not know who God is, and just being yourself and showing them who God is through you, I think was an important thing to remember, because the packing list, everything like that is important, but really trying to find your true self and really demonstrating that through your works and through the way that you show Christ to people there.
Very good. And I would just tag on to that, you don't have to go on a mission trip to do that. You can be on mission right here at Milo with your fellow students, showing God through your uniqueness, the way God created you. So thank you, ladies, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. All right, thank you.